Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my new bedroom in my new house. We have officially moved house if you haven't watched my previous videos, and yeah, we're settling in nicely, and this video is going to be all about my tips for moving house with children. We moved house with two young children, James who's 2 and Isabella who was 10 months old, and it wasn't easy. It took a lot of planning, but I have a few tips that I'd like to share with you. There are lots of tips on the internet, but I haven't found anything useful here on YouTube, especially for people who live in the UK, because I know things in America and elsewhere in the world are different to here. And I looked for videos to find tips, and I had to turn to my friends and ask them, just like desperate, can you please help me? What do I do and what do I desperately need? And my friends were incredibly helpful, and I also picked up some tips along the way. So I thought I would gather these invaluable tips, things that made the move a lot easier for us and the kids, and tell you guys in case you're moving house and you want to be as much as prepared as possible. Every child is different, every family is different. I'm just going to give you little tips of things here and there that helped the transition. The kids are settling in really well, so I think we did a pretty good job. And there are also things that we didn't do so well, and on reflection I wish we'd done it better, so I am going to share that with you guys today. Right, so let's get on with the tips. So moving house is a time of uncertainty for children, for adults as well, but especially for children, because all they know is their home and their house. They know their way around, and then we go and change everything for them. And I think the most important thing to remember is to establish a sense of normality for them. Make it a home wherever you are. You know, like when you go on holiday and you take things from home just to make them feel more comfortable in the hotel or in a rented house or somewhere. That's what you have to do in the new house, is to make it more like they are used to. Put their toy basket in the same place that it used to be in their old house and things like that. So my first tip is to pack a bag of essentials for about 3 to 4 days. So essential things that last you a few days, because you're not going to get through all your unpacking in one day. Trust me, you're not. We are a week and a half in and we still have lots of bags and boxes. Unless you have babysitters every single day, you're not going to get through everything. So pack a bag of essentials, 3 changes of pajamas, 3 to 4 changes of clothes, socks, hats, scarves, shoes, food, bedding, everything, milk, bottles, water, cups, everything for 3 to 4 days. So just pack like this massive bag of stuff for you, for the children, and for just random house stuff. And that's going to make life a lot easier. Make sure to pack any sort of comfort blankets, teddies that they love to sleep with, because you don't want to be rummaging through bags and trying to find that precious teddy. Pack some books, storybooks for bedtime, and I made that mistake. I only packed one, and my husband, who does the bedtime stories, got absolutely sick and tired by the end of the 3rd day because he was just reading the same story over and over again, and I couldn't find all the other books. So pack a few books as well, toothbrushes, toothpaste, all those essentials. My next tip is to keep their duvet covers and their bedding the same as the night before in the old house. That's going to help them feel like they're not in a strange house. It's still their same smell. It's still the way that they are used to. It still looks the same. So we actually changed James's bed position, which I didn't want to do because I wanted to keep it all the same, but we didn't have a way of doing it in this new house. So his bed was in a different position, but his bedding was the same. His duvet cover was the same. His pillow cover was the same. The teddies were lined up the same way. And so that helped him feel like that was his bedroom, because his bed was there and everything that he knew was still there. So that's a big tip that I think, because I was so tempted to buy new bedding for everyone and buy new everything for the new house in the first day, but I feel like keeping it the same and having that nice smell that they can recognize is a great idea to help the kids settle in. My next tip is, if you can, get a babysitter for the day that you're moving, because you're going to want to be in the new house sorting things out, or in the old house packing what you want to take. But I wanted to be in both places, and so there was no way that I could juggle having the kids and doing all of that. So get a babysitter and start sorting the house before the whole move is even in the house, because you'll sort it as you go, and that's a lot better. And in terms of sorting out, my next tip is to start sorting the kitchen, because you're going to need to be doing 3 meals a day, whatever happens, with kids, without kids, with boxes, bags. You're going to need your kitchen to be functional. And so I started with the kitchen. I think it was completely the right choice, because it's been sort of like the most constant place in the house. I also did next the living room, which is the main living area of the house where the kids can stay, and I know it's a safe place for them. So I got rid of anything that was unsafe, any sharp objects, anything that shouldn't be there, and made the kitchen and the living room safe places for the children, so they could come back and forth, and I could prepare food for them. They could eat in the living room. I've used our dining room as storage at the moment, so I've put everything that they're not supposed to play with and that we haven't managed to unpack in there. And so if you have a spare room, maybe chuck all the boxes and bags in there and then slowly start to unpack it. But try and keep your living area as clear as possible, because it will be easier to keep the kids safe from hazards, and it will also make it more normal for them to live without all the bags and boxes everywhere. Next, get their bedrooms ready. Again, it's that whole sense of normality thing, and making sure that they know their whereabouts and it doesn't look like a completely different room. And so I did James's bedroom. That was the third room that I did in the house on the day that we moved, and whilst someone was looking after them, to make sure that when they got home, those 3 rooms were done. And I left everything else to the next day and made sure that I focused on these rooms. And I think that made a huge difference, and it made them feel like this was still their home. You know, it looked normal. It didn't look like they were walking into a warehouse full of boxes. My next tip is to talk about the new house with them. Don't be afraid to talk about them having a new bedroom and a new kitchen, but just don't make too much of a big deal of it, because it can feel daunting. It can feel quite scary when you're putting a lot of emphasis in this new thing. Some children are not as receptive to change as others, and some might feel more excited about change, and others might feel quite scared and daunted about change. And so try not to overwhelm them too much with this is all new, wow, this is amazing, but do talk about it with them and get them to understand, obviously if they are at the age where they understand, but I'm only talking from my experience. So obviously Isabella, my 10-month-old, doesn't understand what's going on, but James does. And what we did with him was just show him the new house and say, this is your new living room, this is your new bedroom, this is your new kitchen, walk around everything new, and then that's it. Then next time we talk about it, we'll go to the kitchen, we'll go to your bedroom. And he was just getting used to it and warming up, and it wasn't that daunting, and I feel like that was a really good idea for us to do. My next tip is to be prepared for a few odd nights, because again, they are adjusting, they don't know their surroundings as well. They might get out of bed and not know where to go and walk straight into a wall or fall out of bed. So be prepared for that and kind of know what to expect in the first few nights, and try and be patient and understanding. I know it's hard at 2 o'clock in the morning, but try and think from their perspective and from their side, and how unsettling that might be for them. And my last tip is not something to do with the kids as such, but it's something that will help massively, and that is to order your internet and your TV service at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance, because it takes a long time for those things to get connected, and they are lifesavers when you're trying to get work done, and you can just put something on the TV and you know the kids are distracted slightly, they're not completely bored to tears, and you're literally just trying to unpack one bag full of clothes and they won't leave you alone. So try and get that sorted. We did our best, but even then, because we were moving between Christmas and New Year, services weren't up and running, so we had about 4 days where we didn't have internet and we didn't have TV. So it was like intense trying to keep the kids entertained and trying to unpack. So that I would recommend that you look into it and do your best to get those services up and running, because they do help a lot. So these are all of my tips. It was only a handful of things, but I feel like all of these things help to settle into the new house a lot better with 2 children, and I hope you found these helpful. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends if they're moving house. And if you're not subscribed already, I'd love for you to subscribe and join me in my next videos in making this new house a home. And I hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.